Hey you crazy kids, and welcome to another video. We are currently in the month of
November,
and some of you artists out there might be familiar with Inktober. For those of you that don't know, Inktober is a month-long art challenge with a different prompt every single day of the month to encourage artists and aspiring artists to improve their artistic skills, to make art more of a daily habit. So with that idea in mind, but also an idea from a series of videos that Vanity Fair has done with famous voice actors recently, I asked all of my followers, both artistic and aspiring artistic, to send me an original cartoon character created by them. And boy, did you deliver. I was trying to pick between names, calling this either Actober or VO-tober for voiceover. I decided to go with VO-tober because Actober is already a thing for actors, so I wanted to focus mainly on voice acting. It looks better written out, not when you say it. My goal in this video is to give an original voice to these original cartoon characters. Being a voice actor doesn't usually mean being able to impersonate another character or another person. It's about whether or not you can give a unique voice to a unique character. This is just my personal interpretation, so if you don't like the voice I give to your character, I do apologize. Let's go. Also, if I mispronounce your name, I sincerely apologize. The first submission comes from Biola, or Biola. I was thinking about what my character would be, and this little thought popped in my head. So we have a little thought bubble with a face. For this one, I'm thinking of a deep, rich kind of voice, but with an echo to it, much like how characters' thoughts in cartoons have a bit of an echo to them. I have so much on my mind all the time, and that might just be because I'm a thought bubble, floating from head to head, helping people collect their thoughts. And for any characters that don't have a name, I will give them a name. So, I'm gonna name this one Thought. No. I shall name him Mind Thinkston, of the Florida Thinkstons. The next character we have is from PumpkinFluffVA. Might I add, it's an elf warrior, Elkastor. This seems like a very wise but very soft-spoken character. So I imagine a voice like this. I am an elf warrior named Elkastor. Make no mistake, there is a fire inside me, and I will fight for my people to my last dying breath. Next, from Lexi, we have this really cute-looking mouse character. Kinda looks like me. If I wore tank tops, and I were a mouse. She says his name is Jay and he is a confident hero type of character. So because I think he looks a little like me, I want to give him a voice that's kind of like my own, but I also want it to retain some mouse-like qualities. I think I'd probably go with something like this. Something that's still my voice, but it's just a little bit higher pitched, maybe nasally to emulate a mouse. He's ready to stop the bad guys. He's saving the day. Maybe he's gonna get the girl mouse. You know, he's not great with women, but he tries. That's Jay. Next up, we have a submission from Cyrene, and it is a cool-looking fire lizard with a cobra head. It's gotta be a villain of some kind. So an evil character that has snake-like qualities, we probably want to do a bit of a hiss. I'm gonna name him Cobrus. I think since snakes are a natural predator of mice, I'm gonna make this the bad guy in the universe of Jay the Mouse.
I am Cobrus. Hear me hiss. How about a little fire, Jay the Mouse? You've never seen a snake with arms before. Curse you, Jay the Mouse.
He has a little bit of a lisp, but you know, that makes him sound scarier. Next up, we have a character drawn by Caitlyn. This is Jonathan. He's a character in a book I'm writing, and I've been struggling to find his voice. I got you, Caitlyn. He's really shy, but likes to pretend he's confident and cool, but everyone can tell he's not confident at all. He also has a southern accent because he's from Arkansas. I'm gonna totally screw this up because I can't do a southern accent. Hi, my name's Jonathan. You wanna maybe go out sometime? I want to try to give him a quivering voice when he tries to talk to people for the first time. Hey girl, the name's Jonathan. I was wondering if maybe sometime you'd want to go out and get something for dinner. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything formal like that. I mean, we could always go out and go out for coffee or something. But if you don't like coffee, that's fine too. I mean, we could always hang out by the water fountain or something. But then again, I mean, I don't want to push you to anything firsthand. Maybe you could just give me your phone number and maybe I'll call you sometime. Or even better yet, you know, I don't want to be too intrusive. Maybe you could just give me your email address or something and I'll email you sometime. And it doesn't have to be immediately. I mean, maybe. I think that's the voice I want to give Jonathan. I don't know. Next up, we have a character from CrosCreates. The character's name is Jack. I think having a voice down here might be a good fit for Jack. He might seem like the kind of guy who's grumpy and introverted, but he actually really likes hanging out with his friends. He's got a soft side to him. He's got a funny side to him. I could see him carrying a longboard around or something, but yeah, I think that's Jack. Next, we have a character created by Abby. So Abby has given me this drawing of a young woman, and a lot of you know that I am not great at female voices, but I'm gonna try it anyways. I think this young lady lady's name should be Abby. She very much looks like she could be an Abby.
And for Abby's voice, I think it would sound a lot like this. She seems like a very preppy girl. She's a very stylish girl. She's very reserved, but she's also extremely smart. Plus, she's amazing at volleyball. She's super competitive, so she's not the kind of gal you want to mess with.
Hope that sounded okay. Next up, we have two creations from Tyler. The first one, we have Tyler the Turtle. I think Tyler the Turtle would sound something like this. He's got a very confident sounding voice. He's very sure of himself. He never goes in his shell because he's not afraid of anything, except his mom. Heck, if public decency wasn't a law, he'd walk around without his shell on. Next, we have Zach the Zebra. I love the alliteration. He also seems like a very confident kind of guy. You know, he and Tyler the Turtle are very competitive with each other. He's a fast talker, but also a fast runner, much like that Racing Stripes movie. You probably don't remember that. He talks like this a lot. He's a very confident kind of guy. Everybody says that I'm white with black stripes, but I'm pretty sure I'm black with white stripes. Next up, we have Jean-Marc, or Jean-Marc. This is an adorable otter with his friend kind of poking out in the back. I'm gonna call this otter George. I'll give him like a subtle British accent, and I'm gonna make him the kind of guy who weirds everyone else out because he's always talking in third person, like he's narrating his entire life. And so we see the sophisticated otter floating down the stream on his back, letting the water do the work and carry him downstream in search of delicious fish. And then his otter friend in the back, his name is Davey. And Davey's like the normal guy who's really confused by why George is narrating everything. Hey George, what are you doing? The wise otter sticks his head up, interrupted by what seems to be a rival otter. Hey George, are you talking to yourself again? The otter floats cautiously by, not wanting to confront the rival. Hey George, are you looking for fish? The rival otter seems to be taunting him. I found this fish further downstream, it's pretty good. The otter feels mocked as his rival dangles a fish in front of him. He will soon learn the consequences of messing with George the otter. Next up, we have Cailin with her characters, GoGo Hippo and Rodney Brittlebone. I love those names. Rodney and GoGo are both from the post-apocalyptic era. Rodney is a 10-year-old human boy who wears a skull for security and protection. For Rodney, I'd give him as good of a kid voice as I can. So, I think he'd probably sound a little bit like this. He'd do anything for his friend GoGo Hippo, but he's also very nervous, and that skull helmet really comforts him and makes him feel safe. GoGo is a 14-year-old hippo half-calf machine hybrid.
I think I'd give him a voice like this, probably. He's a big guy. He's got his friend Rodney Brittlebone. He's always gonna do whatever he can to protect him. He knows how to take down those post-apocalyptic zombie hordes, but he also seems like he could be kind of a goofy guy, despite going through all that and becoming a hippo cyborg and all.
Next up, we have a character created actually by my own cousin, Matthew Ferguson. My original character is called Faucet Fox. He loves root beer, kinda zany, loyal to his friends. This is the kind of voice that I want to give Faucet Fox. You know, he's a very sly guy, but he also talks very quickly sometimes when he's really nervous and he never knows when to stop. And he loves his root beer, and I love root beer, and I just feel like I can connect with this guy on a much deeper level. Next up, we have two characters from Anastasia. Anastasia? The first one is Spunk. He seems like a dinosaur kind of looking guy. He's a very nerdish sounding kind of guy. He's not a nerd, but he sounds like that. And I think it's just because he's always constantly nervous. I think he's got a little bit of a lisp going on. All he wants to do is help out his friend. And next we have Tini, or Tiny, a mermaid zombie fairy princess. That's quite the hybrid. I wanted to sound a little bit like a zombie, but it's very difficult to sound like a zombie and a fairy princess and a mermaid all at the same time. She's a magical mermaid zombie fairy princess. She could eat your brain if she wants to. She would never eat Spunk's brain, but also Spunk has kind of a small brain, so it wouldn't be a very satisfying meal in the first place. That could be potentially terrifying. Next up, we have two characters by Kylee, and their names are Neocone and her pet Cream. I just feel like Neocone would have this kind of voice. She definitely looks like she has good taste, though. And then Cream would just be a normal cat, so... I don't know how cats sound. Next up, we have a character by Ren, and this character is known as the Sad Ghost Friend. New to the afterlife, attempting to cope with his death. This is a really sad backstory. I hate to go into characters from other shows and stuff because this is an original character, but I do see him having kind of like a High Five Ghost-esque kind of voice. You know, a little bit like High Five Ghost, but also like a sad Mad Hatter. Everything was fine up until the day the accident happened. He never wants to go into the details about it, so it's always a mystery. But he doesn't like the afterlife. He just wants to be able to move on. But for whatever reason, he has unfinished business. But you know, sometimes he tries to make the most of being a ghost. He once saw the movie Casper and thought, maybe I can make friends as a ghost. Maybe not everyone has to be scared of me or has to exploit me for television shows. I think that's a good voice for him. Next, we have some characters from Agnes, and it looks like a cat witch and a flying frog. I think I'll name them Kit the Cat Witch and Jeremy the Frog.
And for Kit the Cat Witch, I'd rather give her a voice that sounds a little like a cat. She's a very charming cat, not like your typical house cat that likes to scratch your face if you get too close. She does get hairballs occasionally. Contrary to most cats, though, she doesn't eat mice, and she also isn't very amused by yarn.
And then Jeremy just sounds like a deep frog.
I used to be your average hop and skip kind of frog, but now I'm a magical flying frog. All thanks to my friend Kit the Cat Witch.
All right, next up we have this interesting looking character. I'm not really sure why, but I really want to give him the name Preacher. He's very energetic, he's very cool, but at the same time, he's like a super silly guy, or at least he thinks that he's silly. Maybe he's like something crazy, like maybe he's a vegan or something, and he's a stand-up comedian or something. I don't know. He's like, hey, look at me, I'm a really funny guy. I like talking about the world's fastest clapper. That stuff is hilarious. And I mean, I beat Daniel Ferguson in the middle rounds of America's Got Talent, so that's pretty funny too. Totally kidding. I love you, Preacher. That was a terrible Preacher impression, but I did it for you, man. I lost America's Got Talent to a 12-year-old ventriloquist. She'd move him out the whole time. And lastly, we have one more character by my cousin Matthew. This is Axel Wolf from the same universe as Faucet Fox. He's a very tough looking kind of guy, if you couldn't tell by the way he's choking that bunny. I think he has to have some kind of gruff voice.
Either a voice that sounds like this that's really tough. I told you to never step foot in my tavern ever again.
But I also want to give him like a really deep voice that sounds like he's constantly growling.
How many times do I have to tell you that I only drink diet root beer? The next time I catch you in this neck of the woods, I'll give you a beating you'll never forget.
And that's it. Thank you all so much for submitting your original cartoon character creations. I think it's a great way of engaging with all of you, but also a great way of showcasing your amazing skills and talent. I hope to do this for V-Oktober next year. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and let me know if you want me to do something like this again. Please subscribe, check out some of my other videos if you want. Please support me on Patreon. That would be amazing if you did do that. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.